All right, so building on doing the Travis picking from last session, I was writing a song on the airplane coming back from Mexico, and this kind of it built on it. So sip of coffee, and then I'll play the song for you guys. And what I'll do is I will first just sit and play it, and then I will do it again sharing the screen. So the first time, if you, it might be an idea just to listen to it and hear how things are moving along, and then I'll share it and explain everything to you. Also, just like so many of the things I do, this is becomes kind of a choose your own adventure, right? You can decide how you want to play it. All right, now I just want to make sure. Oh yeah, you can see both hands. Okay. All right, here I go. So nothing too fast. I just spotted a typo. All right, so that's my little getting picky with it, little Travis picking tune. Now I'm going to share the screen and play it again and explain it as I go. Okay, so I saw a typo right off the bat, which was like, come on. But so what I've got here is I've established the picking pattern that we're using right off the bat here. So this first beat is out, so that's strings 4 and 1. That's where we're pinching them together. Okay. And then with your thumb, you've got that third string for inside, right? So thumb and then index finger on that next one. Right? And then you've got your fourth string with your thumb again, moving to the first string. Now you can use your index finger there if you want, or your middle finger, whatever makes sense for you. Big thing is to make sure that you've got your thumb on strings 3 and 4 all the way through this song. And you can see the last beat is just a single note. So that's just, I would just use your thumb on that third string. I want to play that right now, just that pattern, so you can feel it. So it's going to be out, and then on the inside strings, and then on the outside. So what I'm going to say now is out, in, side, out, side, in, out, in, side, out, side, in. 1, 2, and 3, and so that's the rhythm. I'll play a little faster now. And I didn't play all these chords fast. You know, I just took my time with them. Then for the intro, I've got, I wrote it out kind of funny, but I did it so I was hoping that you would mostly focus on the picking pattern and the chord shapes rather than reading tablature. But for the intro, I started it off just by playing the 4th string and the 3rd string, just bopping back and forth with my thumb. And it works fine if you've got the high 4 as well, the high G. It would sound like that. Boom, boom. But you could do it even slower. Boom, 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 with the low 4. Just like that. Keep it simple. Now, I thought I set up these next 2 bars the right way. Tragically, I flipped them around. So I play the 3rd fret pinched. Yeah, get out your pen there, Barb. Fix that up on your paper. Good. And then your 2nd fret. Flip those 2 around. And I'll say it while I play it, okay? So I'll just go through the intro. That first chunk there is just the opens, and I played through that a couple of times. The whole thing that I'm doing here is helping to just establish that rhythm. One more time with that top bar there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I go here to this chunk is what I'm playing. So I've got the pinch of the 3rd fret on string 1, and then it's just bopping back and forth with my thumb. So I play 3rd fret on string 1 and open on string 4, and I go pinch, 4, boom, and then I go over here to that one, and then I go down to the 2nd fret. So I'm playing a C chord shape down to a C major 7. Sounds so fancy, right? But it's just that 2nd fret. So now I'm playing that 2nd fret of the 1st string and the 4th string open. And then those open strings again. Bum, bum. Back to the 3rd fret. Pinch. 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. And then I'm back over here. And I just run through that a couple of times.
Is everybody seeing your what you're talking about on the screen? Because all I get is you. I can't.
Oh, is it not shared to you guys?
Not to me.
I can see it.
Ah, okay, go ahead. I'll watch the video later on. That's good.
Yeah, it's strange that it's not sharing to you.
It may be where she's clicked on, if she's just seeing you, she has to make you smaller so that shows up.
Oh, could be. Yeah.
There's a way to like flip back and forth between the person and the stuff.
Yeah, I know. I tried that, and I still only see you.
So strange.
Really strange. Anyway, it's okay. I'll watch the video. Don't worry about it.
Were you able to get the music though?
Oh, yes.
Website? Okay, good.
Yes.
Good.
So you're starting on 3 first.
Yeah, starting on 3 first. Yeah, and then to 2, and you can play those chunks each a couple of times, or just one time each. Whatever works for you. And then now we're down here on this little grid here. So this is writing those chords out, not as tablature, not as a chord chart, but as zip codes or postal codes. So I identified the first chord that I'm playing as a C5. That's because you've got 3rd fret on your 1st string, and I'll highlight it as we go just to remind you how to read this. 3rd fret on your 1st string, 3rd fret on your 2nd string. And then strings 3 and 4, they're both open. So you've got that. I'm just going to strum through the first line. So I've got C5. It's called C5 because your notes are just C and G in that chord. 4th string is a G. 3rd string is a C. This note here, string 2, fret 3, that's a G. String 1, fret 3, that's a C. the distance between C and G is a fifth. So you've got C being note number 1, C, D, E, F, G. So that's why that's called a C5. It's used a lot, like if you want to have like a mandolin kind of sound. That's a nice open sounding chord for that. Also, if you have a hard time making a C minor chord and you're playing in a group and everyone else is doing a C minor, you could toss in that C5 and that would sit there just fine because it doesn't have the middle note in it, which would be an E or an E flat. But that's okay, that's an aside. I'm getting back to this. Okay, so I've played my C5 chord. Next measure, I've got my C, capital M means major, so C major 7. This is where I've gone down to the 2nd fret on string 1. And still, through the first 2 lines of this song, I'm just using my middle finger and I'm keeping it down on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Okay, so that one sounds like this. Ooh, so tragic. And then just a different voicing of your C6 because we know that we can do it open. All the strings open make a C6, but you can have a different voicing of it if you keep your finger on that 3rd fret. A little bit more tragedy. And then C major 7 again at the end of that line. And then I'm going to play through the next line, and then I'm going to go back and Travis pick those 2 lines. So back to the C5, so double O, double 3. And again, I keep my middle finger anchored on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string to help me feel comfortable moving around these chords without lifting up my fingers. So C major 7's the next one. So double O, middle finger on that 3rd fret, and then I put the pointer finger on fret 2 of string 1. Oh, I like that sound. Okay, the C sus2, that just means I've added in that note there. 5th fret on string 1 is a D. It sounds so cool, I like that. Oh yeah. And then back to C5. Okay, so double O, double 3. Now I'm going to play through that and then check in with you guys and see how it feels. So first 2 lines, and I'm going to just take my time, Travis, picking it. To remember the pattern, we're going to do a pinch. I'm just looking up here. Pinch, in, side, out, side, in. Here we go. So right here on that C5, I'll start there. I'll do each one twice, okay, so you have time to think about moving to it. So C5, here we go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Pinch, in, side, out, side, in, and again on it. Pinch, in, side, out, side, in. Now we're on the next one, C major 7. Pinch, in, side, out, side, in. Pinch, in, side, out, side, in. Now pointer finger comes off, middle still on the 2nd string, and that lines us up here, okay? Pinch, in, side, out, side, in. Pinch, in, side, out, side, in. And then here on the C major 7, pinch, in, side, out, side, in. Pinch, in, side, out, side, in. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the next line. Back to the C5, all these fancy chord names, eh? Pinch, in, side, out, side, in. I'm still going to repeat it. C major 7. I'm trying to highlight it so that you guys can see where I am because it's kind of a busy page. Here we go. Pinch, inside, outside, in. Pinch, inside, outside, in. Now with this one, C sus2, I'm using my baby finger on that 5th fret. If you're not comfortable reaching for that, then you do what you have to do with your fingers in order to get there. You might have to lift them up and place them a little differently to get those 2 fretted notes. So do what you need to do. Here we go. Pinch, inside, outside, in. Pinch, inside, outside, in. Back to the C5. Pinch, inside, outside, in. And again. Pinch, inside, outside, in. Now I'm going to stop there. And I just want to check and see, how are you guys feeling with this? Does it kind of make sense reading it? It can be a little bit weird at first. It looks like it's okay. Now I'm going to play it a little bit faster now. Okay, I'm going to run through these first 2. Oh, I've got a little chat here. Hang on here. That's great. Right on. Okay, here we go. I'm going to run through those 2 lines again. So, 2nd line. So what I did there was I sped it up, and I also didn't repeat each one twice. I just wanted you to hear the flow of it. The next 2 lines, actually, you know what? The next 4 lines are not as tricky because you're just moving around with one finger. I don't know if you guys remember this from 2 weeks ago. I was talking about how you can just like write your own tune, do what you want to do with it, right? And this is where I've got this fancy schmancy C, where it's just the 7th fret on the 1st string. And if you look at that line, you're just moving around from 7th fret to 5th, 8 to 7. And then I was going to write next to it, repeat that line twice, and I thought, oh, Tina, you've got the space. So I wrote it out twice so you could just sit there and, right, make it all nice. All right, so now I'm going to go through that one, and I'm going to just sit and play those 2 lines. I'll start here. And this time, I'm just going to play each chord shape 1 time, okay? But I'll keep the speed the same, and I'll call out the fret number as I go along to make it a bit smoother while we go through here. Okay. So 7th fret on the 1st string, and all the other strings are open. Here we go. I'll count us in. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Pinch, inside, outside, in. Now down to your 5th fret. Ready? Pinch, inside, outside, in. And that in, when I say in, that's my thumb on my 3rd string. Okay, up to your 8th fret. Pinch, inside, outside, in. Down to your 7th fret. Pinch, inside, outside, in. Hang on, someone's at the door. Bing, there we go. All right, so now next line, and it's the same thing again. Back on your 7th fret. Pinch, inside, outside, in. 5th fret. Pinch, inside, outside, in. 8th fret. Pinch, inside, outside, in. Ending on, now we're on the last line there, or the last one of that line, 7th fret. Pinch, inside, outside, in. And then I just went 7, 5, 3, 3 are my frets for the next line. Okay, so on the 7th fret, here we go. Pinch, inside, outside, in. 5th fret. Pinch, inside, outside, in. 3rd fret. that line on the next line. 5, 3, 2, 3. Okay, 5, 3, 2, 3. Here we go. Ready? Pinch, inside, outside, in, down to your 3rd fret. Pinch, inside, outside, in, 2nd fret. Pinch, inside, outside, in, back to your 3rd fret. So reading those chords that way it's really worthwhile practicing them, because I see more and more of chords being written that way in that sort of shorthand. So the next line, we've got E minor, 0, 4, 3, 2, but you can see over here on the side, oh, I was so nice and I wrote out the standard chord charts for you guys too, just so you could look and be like, oh, okay, right, I got that. There's a little blip down here on the 4th string of the E minor chord, and that's because on that chord chart that I have, that font, it has the 4th fret covered, but I was like, I want it open for this, so that's why you see it. Oh, it's almost like a little blob of white out. Look at me go. But it's not on your screen. It's on the document. So E minor times 2, and your standard C times 2. I felt like I wanted to play this line a couple of times, but remember, you guys play it how you want to at home. So E minor times 2, you can read the numbers or look at the chord chart, whatever works for you. Here we go. And pinch, inside, outside, in, and again on the E minor. Pinch, inside, outside, in, to your C chord. Pinch, inside, outside, in, and again. And look, a normal G7 chord. Well, yeah, let's do it. Pinch, inside, outside, in, C strum. And jazz hands. Well, yeah! So, I'm going to sit and I'm going to play through that whole shebang now. And the only thing, I could make it a little smaller on the screen so you guys could see that picking pattern. Maybe I'll do that all. Maybe just a little tinier. Zoom to, are we at 100? Oh, okay, well, let's try 95%. Can I fit everything on there? I don't want the screen to become too small, that's the only thing.
I see the whole thing. Well, whatever.
Oh, did you see the whole thing?
Yeah, I did. I saw it before, actually. Well, except for the picking pattern at the top, but now I can see everything.
Yeah, hopefully it just doesn't get too tiny, that's the only thing. But, okay, I'm going to play through the whole thing, and the picking pattern's up there for reference. I'm not going to talk so much this time. This way you can play along. I'll try to say which line I'm on, or which the starting chord. We'll see how I do. All right, I'll start on the intro. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to pinch with the 3rd fret, not the 2nd fret. Now to the 2nd fret. I'm going to go back to that 3rd fret again. Second fret. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. I feel like I'm speeding up. Okay, here we go on those blocks. So the C5 chord, C major 7, C6, C major 7, so that's the end of the first line. Here comes line 2, C5, C major 7, big stretch for C sus2, C5. Next line is up to the 7th fret, 5th fret, comes 8 and 7. Here comes line 4. Here we go. 5th fret, 8th fret, and 7. And next line, we're on line 5 there. It starts with the 7th fret. We're down to the 3rd fret. Next line starts with C sus2. Here comes the E minor. The glory of finger picking that is that you don't have to lay down all your fingers at once, just as you need them. C chord. Here comes G7, ready? Strum on your C. Yeah, jazz hands! Wah! Now, how was it reading all of those little numbers?
It was a piece of cake, but I had the paper too, so maybe
Yeah,
that-
makes it easier to have that paper for sure. Yeah.
Is there a way you can show your picking hand?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I will stand up and play. Okay, how about like that? Is that okay?
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I'll run through it again. And I know it's a lot to look at, eh? 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. I'm gonna, you know what I think I might do? Actually, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen and I'm gonna play through it just so you can see my hand, okay? Hang on here, I see a... All right, so I'm good there. Okay. Just gonna make sure I can see what I'm doing here. There we go. So, things to keep...
Thank you very much.
Well, you are most welcome. Things to keep in mind when you're playing this. I set up that picking pattern so that at the end you just do one pluck so that you have time to think about what's coming next. Sometimes just playing that picking pattern like that gives you a chance to reset. That picking pattern, I mean, you play it with anything, right? And this whole thing at the beginning is to help you get think about moving that thumb. Just to get it moving, right? When you play the E minor in this song, you don't have to lay down all the chords at once. Watch me go from, so here I am I don't know, I'm coming from here. Put down those two, right, that. And then boop, put them down as soon as I need them. That's the glory of finger picking. I find it relaxing because you can just lay down fingers as you need. Some people might call it lazy. I'm going to call it efficient. You can take that same picking pattern and use it for Dust in the Wind, because we were starting to play around with that before I went to Mexico, right? You can take that same picking pattern and use it for Dust in the Wind. So that way you don't feel like you're trying to rush and get the inside picking happening. You can just take your time and just do one hit with your thumb on the third string, and then you don't have to worry about rushing anything. Now, that's the other thing with this document, the way I did it, was it calls back to the way I've got it arranged for Dust in the Wind as well. So what I want to do now, and I know this is so much, but I'm going to go back to the Dust in the Wind pattern, just so you can take a look and compare a little bit of it, okay, so you can see it. And also, while I'm pulling that up, if you have questions, bring it on, man. Any questions, any insights, anything like that, all good? And
that was one of the guitar patterns I learned in 6th grade, only I have the additional I at the end.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying not to do it, but it's so built into my brain that I almost can't not do it.
It's hard, right? Because I didn't learn the pattern like that. I learned it by doing the I as well.
Yeah.
But it's got a different bit of it lands a little different, hey?
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard, right?
It's harder. It's hard not to have that finger because it just wants to go there.
Yeah, well, and if it wants to go, it wants to go. But who are we to judge the fingers? Let it go then. I find if I don't want to have that emphasized, though, I just make that index finger really quiet. I let it play, but I just let it be quiet. Yeah, but you get these, everyone's going to have these standard picking patterns that they like the most, or that their hand likes the most, and you just go to it, right? It's interesting.
It was funny when I first transferred for playing, well, I still play guitar, but to playing ukulele, it was really hard to not have the other bass, to only have the 4th and the 3rd string, to not have the 6th and the 5th strings. I had a hard time adapting the picking pattern.
It feels weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. Now it feels normal, but for a long time it felt like, whoa, this is strange.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I find my approach to picking on guitar has changed a bit because of all the stuff I do on ukulele now. And I find that I'm a bit more mindful. Like I was mindful of my bass notes and how to lead from one chord to another before, but now I tend to treat it. I'm more thoughtful about when I bring in my bass notes. For instance, I was playing this on my guitar this morning, and I didn't pull out the full chord sound until where I said, I could have just written play it 2 times, but I didn't. The repeat was when I brought in the bass notes, and I didn't bring it in the first time, only the second time, just so I'd be a little bit more thoughtful about placement. And I was kind of pretending it was a cello. I had a great time. And the cat loved it too. He was purring like crazy. All right, so let's take a look at this. There it is. Gotta share this. You guys can't see what I'm looking at. But you know that it's Dust in the Wind. There it is. So I find that, having all the different ways of looking at that picking for dust in the wind is kind of handy, but I do find that the tab becomes a bit much for me to look at and for me to try to memorize. So it's interesting how our minds work a little differently, hey? But if you were to apply that same picking pattern to this song, all you would do is that last little open on each one, you just wouldn't play. That's all. So you'd still do like I don't know if I can highlight it all No, doesn't want to do it. You have your pinch, and then your inside, outside, and then this is written as inside, but just doing in. And if you're having a bit of a trick changing chords, that's the way to make your life a little easier, because it actually gives you a chance to take a breath, whereas sometimes you just don't have that. So that can be very handy. Now, if we go down and take a look at that intro there, like I've scrolled down a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit trickier to see there. There's I'm going to call them postal codes because I'm in Canada, but zip codes, whatever you want to call them. I love them. They're numbers. It's just so easy for me to write down chords quickly, especially if I'm thinking about a song, So I'm going to go through and I'm going to make it so we're only looking at one, just so we're kind of looking at one. I'm going to focus here on the numbers and just go through that as the dust in the wind picking pattern. I'm not going to worry about that tab because I think the best thing for you guys, if you can do it, is to memorize that picking pattern. And then you just get more and more comfortable with it. Okay. So I know that you will see part of it, but make your C chord. Let's just strum those chords on that first line. Okay, so we've got our 3rd fret, right? And then we're going to move down and just play on our 2nd fret, but still strumming. And then up to your 5th fret for the next one. I'm trying to highlight and do it. I need a 3rd arm or something here, or the dog needs to help me. There we go. And then back to the 3rd fret for the last one. Okay. Now, so those are all the different C chord parts, right? The next line, you have to use your index finger and get that note down there. So we won't worry about that right now. We'll just go back up here and we're going to play through all those. Okay? And I'm going to pick them. So I'm going to start with that 3rd fret. So it's going to be just like what we played before. So it's going to be out, inside, outside, in. And if you want to do the side, do that. Okay, let's do that one again. Out, inside, outside, inside. 2nd fret now. Carry on down. Out, inside, outside, in. 5th fret. Good. Yeah. Back to your 3rd fret. Out, inside, outside, in. Sometimes I say out, sometimes I say pinch. Depends on how my brain's working, but that's still the first beat is the together that you do with that chord. The separation that you can sometimes have, which happened to me, was that as you're reading the chord, the note that's being affected is at the end of the line. But I sometimes feel like I have to read it this way, and I play that as an open on my 1st string. So just be aware that you've got 2 things going on there. You've got your chord, like the shorthand for the chord written down, that applies to all 4 strings of the ukulele with your fretting hand, right? So this is all your fretting hand information, and then your picking hand is doing the picking pattern. So just watch out for that. Don't be like me, be able to pull it all together. Now, when you're making your A minors, what you'll see is you've got to have your pointer finger on that 4th string the whole time through so that you have the A minor sound. Now I'm going to stop sharing this so you can just focus on my hand, okay? I'm going to play this. So here we were on the C, and I'll run through this again on the C. So we've got stopping the thumb. I'm trying to demonstrate both. because your A minor, you need that note A, right? Otherwise it doesn't have that dark sound. So when you're playing the next line, so that's the 2002, right? And then 2005. 2003. 2002. So just be aware of that. So this, moving up to that 5th fret and keeping the pointer finger down, can feel kind of funny. But you see where I've got my, whoop, get on the camera there. My thumb is right around the center of the neck for me. Sometimes, I mean, people have bigger hands or smaller hands, so you may have to move your thumb down in order to reach, okay? But you want to make sure that you're not cranking it like that. Like I saw myself do that in the camera. I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? So I fixed that up, and my thumb, in order for me to do that, my thumb was angled a bit more like that. I had my hand up a little bit more. See that? I brought this part up a little bit. Yeah. And that lets me get that 5th fret with a bit more ease. So I'm going to go back to here we go, back to this. So that now you can see, okay, so 2002, I use my pointer finger on that 2nd fret there, and I use my middle finger on the 1st string. So let's just try strum it. Let's just try strumming those chords. So 2002, give that a little strum. Okay. And then the next one, that's where there's going to be that stretch. So you got your pointer finger on the 2nd fret, pinky finger on the 5th fret, and let's say you're like, I can't make that stretch. Then put your pinky finger on the 5th fret first and stretch back with your pointer finger. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, man. I do that a lot. Place with the pinky finger, stretch back. You'd be surprised at how it can just make life a little easier. Yeah. And then I call this my special A minor, because I've got my pointer finger still on 4th string, fret 2, and then I usually just use my ring finger there. Oh, I love that sound of that A minor. Then back to the double gap tooth snake fangs. 2002. Okay. Now let's try picking that. Okay, so we've got our, go back to the beginning of this line here. Okay, here we go. So we're going to pinch or out. I'm going to say out. I'll just do that. Here we go. Out, inside, outside, in. Okay, and now to the, with the 5th fret. Out, inside, outside, inside. Next one, the special A minor. Okay, here we go. Ready? Out, inside, outside, inside. And then the 2002. Here we go. Out, inside, outside, inside. So, just stop there on those 2 lines. I want to point out just right below that, there's your chord names: C, C major 7, C add 9, and C. Let go with that line. So if you have printed off the sheet, it would be good to write those chord names there. See if you can tuck them in there. Okay. And then A minor sus2, A minor sus4, A minor with an asterisk, my special A minor. So you can see it happening right here. Whoop. And then back to E, A minor sus2. So it'd be good to write those in. Now I'm going to play through this whole pattern. Okay, so you can just sit and hear how it flows. You'll see that there's this little pattern. I'm going to point it out. On your C, you've got 3, 2, 5, 3. And because that first line started with a 3rd fret, it's now going to start with a 2nd fret. 2, 5, 3, 2. So it's just started on the 2nd fret rather than starting on the 3rd fret to carry this pattern on. Next line starts 5, 3, 2, 5. Next line is 3, 2, 5, 3. So you're constantly just rolling that starting note. So I'll play that and, just so you can hear it. And I won't go fast. You might want to try strumming it. You might want to try picking it. But I'm going to just keep saying the fret number that we're starting with. I'm not necessarily going to say C and A minor all the time. I'm just going to say that number. Okay. So we're going to start on that first line. Here we go. So this is going to be our C section here, C chord section. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 3, down to 2, 5, to 3. Now I'm going to go to the A minor section with the 2, 5, to 3, and whatever you start with on that line you end with, so back to 2. Okay, now we're back to the C section. That's why I have a gap in there so that you can see. The C when it comes back. Okay, now we're on the 5th fret. Here we go. 5, 3, 2, and 5. Now A minor with the 3. To 2. 5. I'm going to stop there because right after that you come in and you start singing and away you go. Got and I just sit there and I just pick the chords, and I know that they're in that chord chart that follows this, but it's nice to get that intro going because it's such a it's so pretty to play. It's so meditative. So, questions about reading this or anything? Yeah, Laura?
I like playing it with the C5.
Ooh.
And
Yeah. Right on. And did you keep that 3rd fret down on the 2nd string when you went to the A minor as well, or no?
I didn't, but I did one chord that way and it sounded a little weird, so I didn't, but maybe I should try it.
A little too jazzy, hey?
Yeah, maybe.
Yep, starts to become a little too far. But with the C5, yeah, that's gorgeous. Nice, takes it to more of a, that open chord sound. Yeah, that's cool. Right on. These things are so much fun to experiment with, and the whole idea of Travis picking, it's such a nice way to, like, you could strum down, down, up, down, up, down, up, or down, down, up, down, up, down, or you could pick out, inside, outside, inside. You can, if you can strum the rhythm, you can pick the rhythm. That's the thing that's kind of fun. So it's worth just playing around with it. And the one that I wrote, that getting picky with it, if it doesn't tickle your ear, don't worry about it, because it's just a reinforcement of the Dust in the Wind picking pattern and some of the chord shapes that you have in Dust in the Wind. I've got some ideas for that little tune, though. I'm going to keep playing around with it and see where it goes for me. But maybe you'll write your own. You never know. That would be cool. If you just wrote your own little Travis picking tune, it'd be so awesome. So I'm going to stop sharing this and just check in on everyone. All that jazz. Ah, back. I also see some chats. What's going on here? Oh, yeah, I was thinking Barb had a bit. Looked like her eyes were just giving her grief there. Oh, and Vicky, this is working for you, hey? It's really fun, and just reinforcing that. There's so much more you can do with it too, like little hammer-ons and pull-offs and things like that. But you don't want to worry about all that right away. You just want to get that picking going. And I tried to be mindful of just playing it with these two today. Didn't even use extra fingers. Just to show you could do it all with those two. You don't have to add extra if you don't want to. So like lobster claws or something. All right, oh, good. I'm glad you liked it, Ruth. It was fun. Any questions or anything that you want to check in about before I stop the recording?
It was great, Tina. Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording then, and I think this is good.